Question number 45. Okay, we are moving on to question number 45. So here question has asked us to comment on profitability, which basically means we need to make the statement showing ranking, because we don't know how many units can be sold for each product. That is the reason we will only be showing statement of ranking, right? So yes, first one is sales unit limit. This is a different thing we hadn't discussed earlier. Sales unit limited, then we need to use contribution per unit. That is this is the same thing, but sales units is limited. Is limited. That is a new thing. Another is sales value is limited. Alright, then we should be seeing contribution per rupee of sale. For that we need to divide by sales PV ratio, divide by that, and we'll get this one. Okay, so and then in the upper one, selling price minus variable cost per unit. Okay, that's the thing. So basically what's happening is, if there were limiting factors, key factors, then we would find out the contribution and then divide it by limiting factor in the previous questions. But now here what we are doing is, if sales units are limited, then we will only find the contribution per unit and we don't need to divide it by anything else. Then the one that gives the higher contribution per unit, here in this case product B is giving more contribution per unit, so it's ranked 1. And then in the next one, for sales value, we definitely need to divide the contribution per unit by PV ratio, okay, to reach contribution per rupee of sale. So here we need to divide the contribution per unit by PV ratio. It's kind of like the previous ones. The only different one is sales unit is limited. If sales units are limited, then we don't need to divide by limiting factor. Here PV ratio cannot be said limiting factor, but decision should be made on contribution per rupee of sale, so we need to divide by PV ratio. Then the next one is heavy demand, then PV ratio. The one with higher PV ratio should be ranked as the first one. Alright, here we don't need to divide contribution per unit by PV ratio. We should directly decide through PV ratio which one is higher. The one that's higher should be ranked 1. And then another low demand conditions. Contribution per unit, because in a heavy demand we should use PVR, and then in low demand we should use contribution per unit. It's wrong. We should not do that, because fixed cost might be different in product A and product B. So which is why we need to decide through BEP, the one which has lower BEP. Here 7246 units is lower than 9090 units, so it's ranked 1. So this is question number 45, right? Question number 45 is easy, but the thing is, you need to be alert of what you should be using to decide to rank. Alright, that's the thing. Question number 49 says, we need weight in sales rupees while calculating composite BEP in rupees. While calculating composite BEP in rupees, we need composite PVR, for which while calculating composite PVR we will be needing the weights not in units but in rupees. That is, we'll use units, the same units. This is just a ratio 20, 16, 24, but the actual units are 2000, 1600 and 2400 units. And then we'll multiply by the selling price, and then we'll get the weight in rupees, and then we'll put those weights, and then we'll get 41.07%, which we will be using here in the composite BEP rupees formula, and then we'll get composite BEP in rupees. And then the next thing is processing hour is the limiting factor, but the thing is yeah, it's given that 200 hours are only available hours, so processing hour is definitely the limiting factor. But the thing is, we don't know how many processing hours are needed for each product A, product B, product C. So basically here maximum production per month is given, so which basically means that if 200 hours are the available hours, then maximum production per month can be done 5000 units for A. Okay, then maximum units for B 8000 units. So this means that if we produce 5000 units of A, we can produce 0 units of B and C. If we produce 8000 units of B, we can produce 0 units of A and C. That way, so we'll just divide 200 hours, that is available processing hours, divided by maximum units that can be produced of that product. Then we'll get contribution per processing hour. Alright, so that is it. This basically means that 200 hours divided by 5000 units means. Okay, moving on to question number 49. So yes, I mean we did talk about this weight in sales, weight in rupees, right? So we were talking about processing hour per unit. So yes, we will be dividing available hours by maximum production, then we'll get processing hour per unit, and then we'll get contribution per processing hour, and then we'll rank and we'll continue our solution. But here's the thing, I guess here I missed something in my note, because after dividing processing hour per after finding out processing hour per unit, that is 0.04 hour per unit, we need to calculate contribution per processing by 80 divided by 0.04. I guess that's what we need to do. I guess I'm missing that here. I'll check it later, you gotta check it too. So that is it. Question number 49 is actually pretty easy. And question number 50 is asked in 20 marks, which is also easy. Question number 50, question special is, so there's nothing much in question number 50, it's just that it's quite long. Yeah, it's just quite long. So question number 50 is about, there's condition of commitments, and question is asking to calculate composite BEP, or let's say composite desired sales. So for that we need to see three conditions, check three conditions. If minimum commitments is equal to fixed cost, that is okay, so we need to underline this one as well. So if contribution from minimum commitments of each product is equal to fixed cost, then BEP is equals to fixed cost. BEP is equals to minimum commitment itself. And if it's less, that is contribution from minimum commitments is less than fixed cost, then no use of formula. Alright, so no use of formula. Then what to do? Basically you need to do this one. See, so contribution from minimum sales is 2.5 lakhs, right? So fixed cost is if fixed cost is 3 lakhs, then this is extension. Alright, so if fixed cost is 3 lakh, then short contribution is 50,000, right? So to be recovered from additional sales of Y is rank 1 product, so that way, and it will be 50,000 divided by 150, that is contribution per unit of Y, divided by that, then it will be 333.33 units. So BEP units will be 500 units, 500 plus 333.33 for Y, and jet 500. These are minimums. Alright, so this will be the ones, and selling price multiplying by selling price, it will be 3 lakh, and that will cover the fixed cost itself. And if we need BEP sales value, we can multiply them by what? By selling price. Oh, so these are not the selling price, these are the contribution per unit part. Alright, just to check if it's 3 lakh or not, so that it meets the fixed cost or not. So that is what we will do. That is no use of formula, just the sort contribution by the rank 1 product. Alright, and then another is if minimum contribution from minimum commitments is greater than fixed cost, then use a formula where you should use weight of minimum commitment. Alright, so here's the thing. So question special, nothing much, that was the condition. So question special, we haven't, okay, the at first in part A we haven't used rankings. We have made the rankings statement, we have made the statement of rankings, but we haven't used the ranking because question has suggested us to do as per their suggestion. And then the next one is, yeah, we will just comment that no, the ranking is not correct. Instead, product Y, that is rank 1 product, should be additionally produced, and then we'll show the allocation and statement of profit. And see, the profit, previously profit was 1.8 lakh, now it's gonna be 2,25,000 according to our suggestion. And then moving on to the E, this is the part, composite BEP units. We will not use the formula. Why? Because in the question, to find the BEP units, basically we'll check if our total contribution from minimum sales, that is 500 units of each of the products, is equal to fixed cost or not. If it is, then okay, then BEP equals to the minimum units itself, that is 500 units of each product. So this is the main solution. And the extension part, I definitely, if the fixed cost is more, then there will be short contribution. You don't need to use the formula, you just need additional units of Y. And then if the fixed cost is 2 lakh, that is if the fixed cost is 2 lakh and then contribution from minimum units itself is 2.5 lakhs, then this is the condition, this is the third condition, use a formula. Alright, so use weight of minimum commitment. So here you'll use the formula composite BEP units. We have been using this formula since along, combined fixed cost by contribution, composite contribution per unit, right? And this composite contribution per unit needs to be calculated, for which weight will be minimum sales commitment, that is 500. So that means we can apply 1 right, and divide by 1, and this will be 1200 units, and then we'll divide according to the weights 1, that will be 400 units. That means since minimum sale of each product, that is 500 units, needs enough for 2 lakh, then we need 400 units according to this formula. That is it. And then the last one is contribution from minimum sales is 2.5 lakhs. We know that, and that is sufficient to cover fixed cost. Then the additional sales of Y is required to earn profit. So here this is the case of desired sales to earn desired profit. Alright, so we already know that 2.5 lakh is 2.5 lakh contribution by minimum sales is sufficient to cover fixed cost. So fixed cost part is eliminated. Now it's time for profit. How much profit do we need? 9 lakh times 10% divided by 1.05 divided by 1 minus 0.5, that is we are finding out the required profit before tax. We need to do that. You all know it, required profit before tax by contribution per unit of Y will give us 1200 units of Y, and then that will be 500, and we'll be adding 1200 units of Y, that is 1700 units, and then sales value will be applying the selling prices, right, and then we'll get 17.5 lakhs. And yes, we can check if the profit is earned or not, but we'll not check because it's the correct solution. And that is it. Question number 50 is actually easy. You just need these. Alright, when to use formula, when to not. And then moving on to the question number 51 is also easy. In this question